Today's video is about how I lost over £200 going to Greece holiday. Um, and I want to tell you a very quick tip on how to avoid this. So this is a story about last year when I went to Greece. Um, and basically I just rewind the story a little bit. So I decided I wanted to go to a place called Grania in Greece. I wanted to just visit it on my own at the time and see what it's like. It was overall good. It was a little bit boring, but it was overall interesting. I stayed at a little summer hostel, went around, saw a few places, did a few activities here and there, and it was an interesting place. But I was happy to go back. But all wasn't to my liking. All wasn't as planned. I went quite early on the day I wanted to leave. I went at around, the flight was in the evening, around 4 or 5, and I went quite early. And just rewinding it a little bit, so this was my last day, and the flight I was expecting to leave at was around 5-6 p.m. So I was doing one final visit around Greece, around Carnia, Crete. And I remember having very vividly a very good dish in Greece. This was the first time that I decided no longer to be vegetarian. This was the first non-vegetarian dish I ate in Greece, and that was the end of my vegetarianism, to be honest, purely because I wanted to create a food diversity and I wanted to explore more local cuisine, and being vegetarian was a hindrance to me to be able to explore the local cuisine. And I had a very vivid text come through. This wasn't from Wizz Air, but it was from the agency that I booked with. I believe it was called Doppler or something like that. When I booked an agency, and I booked it at the time with Skyscanner. And it was a very clear message, and it said something along the lines of, "Your flight has been cancelled. For more updates, click on this link, ABC." Now, I was expecting to get some compensation, of course, so I did the right thing. I tried to call Wizz Air, call my family, tell them the situation. I said, okay, I haven't got much data, much power. I've already checked out of the hotel, so I'll take a cab and I'll go straight to the airport very early on to find out exactly what's going on. I went there. There was in Cardiff Airport. There was absolutely no information about the flight that had just been cancelled. There was a few other mainly British tourists, given it was a flight going back to London, and I went there, and there was little or no information about what was happening. So they eventually formed a queue by the Wizz Air information office. It wasn't even belonging to Wizz Air, but it was actually belonging to, I believe, Turkish Airlines, or the link to Wizz Air. There was some form of partnership, and apparently they were the ones who were running this whole palaver. There was a little lady over there, and we all queued up and asked her, our flight's been cancelled, what's going on? Is there a replacement flight? And they simply told us they don't have any information, but that there will be a bus to a hotel. However, I used to go pretty quickly. I need to go back. There wasn't any hotel confirmed. There was no booking confirmed. Wizz Air had not given us a reserve flight that was confirmed. So there's nothing really confirmed. There was, by now, a couple of dozen people at the airport, all mainly British, trying to go back from their holiday. That turned out to be a little holiday in hell because they were all stuck at the airport. There was no kind of information. We didn't want to go and book a hotel or any other reserve flight if we want Mr. Money back. Then later on, information was passed on a single document, and it wasn't anything to do with Wizz Air. It was a generic EU rules document, EU flying rules document that allowed us a compensation of about £100 or something like that. But that probably wouldn't cover any of the flights that we needed to take to go back to the UK. So I was a little bit left stranded, to be honest, more than anything else. I was left stranded, and so what was happening was we had increasing more and more number of people at the airport. Who wanted to, we had an increasing number of people at the airport who were getting frustrated because there was no reserve journey, reserve airport. And secondly, this was the other thing that happened. So the biggest mistake I made, apparently they were getting some sort of refunds, a few £100. But there were two things. So firstly, Wizz Air did not attribute this issue to itself. It attributed it to the airport issue, which meant it brushed its hands off having to deal with any kind of flight-related compensation, because they said, look, this is not a flight issue, this is an airport issue which we had no control over. However, to the passenger, this airport issue doesn't do anything, doesn't help us, does it? Because you're a passenger, the airport's not going to give us compensation, and if it was an airport issue, there wouldn't be other flights flying around at the same time. So it clearly didn't make sense how Wizz Air couldn't actually give us compensation when the airport, if it was an airport issue, there'd be no other flights. There clearly flights flying around at the same time. We were then told we were going to get some compensation up to £300, and if we send the receipts that we would get compensation of the full flights and the hotel if any other necessary expenses were paid. So this was, again, a journey for me, because now I thought, okay, I'm now going to pay Norwegian Airlines plus a hotel in Oslo plus another Norwegian Airlines a flight. And I had to do this very, very, very last minute. So I went back on Skyscanner and paid for a last minute flight, which is going to fly now about an hour at max away from Greece via Bergen to Oslo and then from Oslo to London. I ended up booking that. It cost me a solid 200, 300 quid. Plus the hotel at top was at least around £400, thinking that I would get compensation. But what happened was I ended up going all the way. I went up the flight and I went on the hotel with the receipts and everything bagged up. I was very lucky. The scariest moment of my life, one of the scariest, most financially daunting moments of my life, was when I paid a last minute flight via an agency where the queue was already starting, by the way. The queue was already starting. So I had some kind of booking reference. No documents from Norwegian Airlines, by the way. So this was the stage where I was trying to get a reserve airline booking. So an airline that was already going via London. It was the quickest point to get to London according to the airport help staff. And I booked that. And now I was 400 quid down, not even having an official ticket from Norwegian Air, but just having a ticket via the agency. Again, committing a similar mistake. I ended up booking it, and by the grace of superior powers, if you do believe in God, whereas this was one of the luckiest moments I had, the ticket booking worked, and I was allowed to go through to Norway, and then that was a sign of relief. That was the biggest sign of relief, because I was in limbo stuck in Greece. However, now comes the second point. So I had a lovely time in Bergen, but it obviously wasn't necessary. I didn't want to spend so much time just having time in Bergen. I had 1 or 2 days. Ironically, I felt it was a better time being in Bergen than it was in Greece for part of that holiday. And I eventually went from Bergen to Oslo, and then from Oslo or Bergen, one of those two, I was getting mixed up. I remember staying in Bergen for a hotel. I went straight back to London. I think it was London Gatwick or London Heathrow, given it is Norway's flight carrier. And so I had all the receipts. I had all the receipts for the flights and all the receipts for the hotels piled up. And I thought, the only thing I've got to do is, according to whatever they said on Wizz Air, that there was some documentation that they'd claim it for us, I decided to send Wizz Air my details. They couldn't find my booking reference number. They couldn't find the reference number. They said, oh, that's not ours. Couldn't find it. I said, clearly I booked the ticket. That was the flight detail. That was the number. That was what I booked. But no, they couldn't find it. They couldn't find the number, the booking number, and so it wasn't their duty. Then if they dig greater into it, I believe it was Oppodo or one of those ones, and they realised, hang on a minute, you didn't book directly via us, so therefore you have to book via the agency, and the agency will manage to refund for me. So the agency had already taken my money. How on earth will they manage to refund for me? Because now there's no financial incentive for them to do so, and plus there's no legal obligation for them to do so, according to whatever issues we're having. Well, I went now to Oppodo, to whoever it was, that was the agency managing my ticket. I told them this, and I messaged them. I sent them the tickets, and it was some call centre up in South Asia. Don't want to name whatever country it was, and the waiting time was at least about a week, and I was getting a standard response after standard response. I got back in total about £100 after a month or two of waiting, and I lost around £300, which till this day I don't think I've got the complete money back, because Wizz Air could not take full responsibility of it because it wasn't under their own direct booking. So I lost over several £100 flying into Greece, essentially, for effectively not my fault, other than the fault that I wanted a good bargain. And no matter what agency you booked via Skyscanner, they wouldn't give you the money back. It was an airport fault, or was this fault? In summary, I had two things. So I may well have got all the full refunds had I booked through Wizz Air directly. That's the biggest thing I want to tell you. The biggest thing I've learned from here is that please, 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 if you're going to book Wizz Air, do not book via any form of Skyscanner, because if things happen, you know, if it's a good day, it's a good day, but if it's a not so good day, it can turn out to be a lot of money lost. So please, 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 if you're going to book for budget airlines like Wizz Air, book directly via Wizz Air. I think it's a lot more safer. I've had a very smooth journey, and touch wood, I'll have a very smooth journey back home from Bulgaria here, as I am now in beautiful Black Sea, just over there. But please do book direct via Wizz Air. That's probably the biggest thing I've learned from here. But again, if you don't have, if you don't want to, if you sorry, but try to avoid budget airlines if you can. If you're minted, it's not an issue for you. But if you are travelling budget, do book directly, and you can potentially save yourself a lot of money. Even though, you know, Skyscanner promises you cheaper prices, if things go wrong, airlines can very easily brush away, saying, look, it's not our responsibility, you've got to find an agency, and the agency manages it for you. But the agency can take as long as they like. So a lot of the cheaper agencies that give you very good deals, they also have crappiest customer service. So, you know, that's one thing that I learned. So please don't lose over £200 when you're going on trips. Travel smart, be smart, and be safe. Thank you so much. Peace.